You don't need more motivation. That's not what's missing. You've listened to the speeches. You've repeated the affirmations. You've waited for that wave of energy to push you into action, but nothing lasts. You start and stop. You feel inspired and then tired. You make plans and break them. And then the shame creeps in. You start asking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just stay consistent like other people? Maybe I'm not meant for more. But here's the truth Florence came to tell you. There's nothing wrong with you. You've just been taught the wrong source of power. They taught you to chase motivation, to wait for the mood to strike, to think success comes from feeling ready. But real change doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from repetition. And repetition requires something deeper than feeling. It requires discipline, the power to move even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one claps for you. The power to do the thing, especially when you don't feel like it. That's when your future self is being built. That's when your identity shifts. In this video, I'll show you the difference between motivation and discipline. And I'll teach you how to stop waiting for a feeling and start becoming unstoppable. Motivation feels good. It gives you a hit of excitement, a moment of belief, that temporary rush that makes you think, this time I'll change. But then life happens. You get tired. Someone disappoints you. The old habits return, and that motivation you felt, it vanishes. Motivation is like a sparkler, bright, loud, exciting, but it burns out fast. And if you rely on it to move, to commit, to transform, you'll burn out with it. What no one tells you is that motivation is addictive because it feels good. And you start chasing that feeling instead of chasing results. You keep watching more videos, reading more quotes, telling yourself, tomorrow I'll start. And what you're really doing is avoiding the actual work. The quiet, repetitive, unglamorous work that doesn't give you a rush, but gives you a future. Discipline is the opposite of hype. It's quiet. It's invisible to most people. It doesn't care how you feel. And that's exactly why it works. Motivation wants you to be excited. Discipline wants you to be consistent. Motivation dies in discomfort. Discipline is born in it. The people you admire, the ones who look unshakable, they're not driven by bursts of motivation. They're driven by values, by vision, by standards they don't negotiate. They don't wait to feel ready. They act and let their feelings catch up later. That's the shift you need. From waiting to deciding. From hoping to showing up. From chasing moments to building momentum. You don't need more motivation. You need to get honest about what discipline actually means and why it scares you. And that's exactly what we'll talk about next. Discipline doesn't fail you. It confronts you. And that's why most people run from it. Discipline holds up a mirror. It forces you to see what you've avoided, the promises you've broken, the excuses you've dressed as self-care, the time you've traded for distractions. It doesn't let you hide behind someday. And that's terrifying, because the moment you step into discipline, you also step into responsibility. You realize it was never about the world stopping me. It was always me. And that kind of truth, it hurts. Especially if you've spent years being told to be soft, to be flexible, to go with the flow. Especially if you were raised to believe that being firm, direct, and structured made you cold, or masculine, or too much. So, instead you waited. You apologized for being inconsistent. You excuse the chaos in your life as just being human. But discipline isn't cold. It's sacred. It's a form of devotion to the life you say you want. And the moment you stop fearing it, the moment you stop treating it like punishment, it becomes the most empowering force you'll ever know. Discipline is self-respect in action. It says, I'm not waiting for a perfect day. I'm creating one. It rebuilds trust with yourself. Every time you show up when you said you would, every time you finish what you started, every time you choose alignment over impulse, you reprogram your identity. You stop needing permission. That's why discipline scares you. Not because it's harsh, but because it requires you to rise. And once you rise, you can't unsee your own power again. In the next part, I'll show you how to start building discipline from the inside, even if you failed 1,000 times before. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined through the smallest decisions, repeated with intention. Discipline isn't a personality. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. And the truth is, most people fail at discipline because they build it on punishment. They push too hard. They set unrealistic routines. They go from chaos to military mode. And then they crash. Again. Discipline isn't about force. It's about trust. You build trust by doing what you said you'd do, even if it's tiny. You start by keeping one promise, not 10, not all at once, just one. Wake up when you said you would. Drink water before coffee. Write for 5 minutes. Say no when you mean no. That's discipline. It's not flashy, it's not Instagrammable, it's quiet, repetitive, sacred. And the more you show up, not perfectly, but consistently, you begin to rewrite the story you have about yourself. The story that says, I'm not consistent. The story that says, I always fall off track. Those are not truths. They're identities built from past patterns. But your identity can change the moment your actions change. That's the secret. Discipline doesn't require confidence. It creates it. Every small win becomes a brick, and one brick a day builds the foundation of a life you actually respect. You don't need to be perfect to be disciplined. You just need to stop negotiating with your excuses. Start with one promise today, and if you break it, don't start over. Just return. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who rebuild. In the next part, we'll talk about the most dangerous trap that kills your discipline and how to silence it before it ruins your momentum. The greatest threat to your discipline isn't laziness. It's self-judgment. That quiet, brutal voice that says, you failed again. See? You'll never change. Why even try? And the worst part? You believe it. You carry the shame of every broken promise like a weight on your back. You confuse discipline with perfection. So the moment you slip, even just once, you don't forgive yourself. You punish. You disappear. You call it starting over. But really, you're just quitting in disguise. Discipline doesn't die when you mess up. It dies when you judge yourself so harshly that you no longer believe you're worthy of trying again. And that belief? That's the real sabotage. So today, Florence is asking you to release that voice. You're allowed to stumble. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to be human and still stay committed. Real discipline isn't built in straight lines. It's built in spirals of falling and returning, falling and returning. What matters is that you always come back. You show up not because it's easy, but because it's aligned. You choose again and again and again, without guilt, without apology, without needing to feel 100% ready. That's the mindset of a woman who wins. She doesn't perform for perfection. She builds for peace. And peace comes when you finally stop trying to earn your worth and start living like you already have it. In the final part of this video, I'll show you how to turn all of this into a daily rhythm, a lifestyle, where discipline isn't a burden, but your new baseline. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. It's not about force. It's about focus. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. and crushing every task on your list. It's about keeping your word to yourself, about choosing alignment over noise. Because the truth is, your future isn't waiting for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to take one step, one real step, one choice that says, I no longer let my feelings dictate my life. This is how powerful women are built. Quietly, intentionally, consistently, through structure, through standards, through sacred self-respect. And when the rest of the world still waits for motivation, you'll already be moving. You'll be building. Not for applause, not for perfection, but because you finally know who you are and who you're becoming. This is your reminder. You don't need more motivation. You need to decide. Decide to rise. Decide to repeat the small, powerful acts that bring your vision to life. Discipline is not your enemy. It's your key. And now that you have it, use it. Start today, quietly, without asking for permission. The future version of you, she's waiting. And she's proud you pressed play. If this message reached you deeply, don't forget to follow this channel. Here, we don't chase motivation, we build truth. One lesson at a time, one choice at a time. I'll see you in the next video. Florence.